Continuing with our hour-long look at the Hunter Biden saga, we turn now to Hunter Biden's ties to a Chinese energy company and new reporting that revealed the exact dollar amounts Hunter was paid by company executives for services that it would appear he never provided. Here's the general gist of the Washington Post deep dive report on this. The story largely focuses on Hunter's dealings with CEFC China Energy, a massive oil and gas company that had financing from government development banks and ties to the Chinese Communist Party and the People's Liberation Army. In August of 2017, Hunter signed a deal with that company that earned him a one-time fee of $500,000 as well as a $100,000 monthly stipend. The deal also provided his uncle James with $65,000 a month. Over the course of the next year, $4.8 million was transferred from a bank account held by Hunter and CEFC executives to entities controlled by Hunter and James Biden. The Washington Post was able to verify all of this using government records, court documents, and newly disclosed bank statements, and yes, through emails contained on a copy of that now infamous laptop hard drive that once belonged to Hunter Biden. And while the Washington Post reports that accounts linked to the president's son received at least $3.8 million from the Chinese firm through consulting contracts, none of the projects discussed between CEFC and the Bidens ever actually amounted to anything. And Hunter also received a $1 million retainer to represent a CEFC official, Patrick Ho, who was later sentenced to 3 years in prison after being convicted on unrelated bribery and money laundering charges. And while Hunter is an attorney, he does not appear to have provided any legal representation for Ho. Not long after signing the CEFC deal, Hunter asked his office's building manager for new signage to reflect a new family enterprise and a new business relationship. The Biden Foundation and Hudson West, CEFC US. Biden requested keys for his new office mates, including his father, his Uncle James, and a Chinese executive. But apparently no one ever went to pick the keys up. All of these business dealings took place after Joe Biden's term as vice president ended and before he announced his candidacy for the 2020 presidential race. Yet the Post also found that Hunter was initially approached by a CEFC intermediary about setting up a meeting with CEFC's founder and chairman as early as December of 2015, when Joe Biden was still vice president. However, it appears that a meeting between Hunter and the CEFC founder didn't take place until after Joe Biden left the vice presidency. Now, here's the most bizarre detail. After the meeting did happen, the CEFC head sent him a 2.8-carat diamond, even though they didn't do a deal together. Hunter told the New Yorker magazine that he gave the diamond away and has no idea where it is. In early 2018, though, things began to fall apart for Hunter and CEFC. Hunter's so-called client, Patrick Ho, was jailed awaiting trial here in the U.S., and the CEFC founder was detained by Chinese authorities in February of that year and hasn't been heard from since. On March 26, 2018, Hunter received an email from an assistant he worked closely with on CEFC business, telling him that the Hudson West was dissolved, but that Hunter should, quote, take whatever money you can take as long as the money's available to claim. Take as much as possible or figure out a way to spend them for your own benefit, end quote. Bank records showed that over the next 6 months, nearly $1.4 million were transferred into Hunter's account. So all this would appear to show Hunter Biden engaging in some shady business deals with shady business people from China with alleged ties to the Chinese government. Yet the Post, quote, did not find that Joe Biden personally benefited from or knew details about the transactions with CEFC. So at the very least, this is all very embarrassing for Hunter. It is also possible that they will be using all of this information as part of the investigation that is ongoing. And at the worst, that's what it is. Part of the criminal probe. Last week, I spoke to one of the authors of that Washington Post article, Matt Visor. All right, Matt, thank you very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. A lot of work clearly went into this story. It even took us a lot of work to summarize your reporting on this. So what do you think is the most important takeaway from your story?
I mean, I think there's a lot of corroborating evidence here. Some of these charges have been out. Others in the media have covered aspects of this story. I think we've shed some new light on the amount of money transfers, $4.8 million in total, which is corroborated with bank documents, which is corroborated with material that is on the purported laptop that Hunter dropped off on the hard drive. There's a lot of emails on there. There's a lot of records and documentation. As you laid out, this occurs at a period where Joe Biden is not in office. It's before his presidential run, but it's a lot of money paid to Joe Biden's son and brother from closely tied to a country that is now the chief geopolitical foe in the Biden administration. So I think it's important for readers to understand and to sort of see everything laid out as we try to do today.
Is it fair to call the executives shady? I mean, is it fair to say that Hunter Biden was doing deals with shady Chinese executives?
Well, I think as you laid out, Yi Jinping disappeared in China. We've been unable to locate him for comment. And another gentleman where Hunter received a $1 million retainer to represent Patrick Ho was accused in a bribery scheme and was charged by the U.S. government and put in jail for a 3-year sentence. I think that these were certainly questionable figures that Hunter was doing business with and receiving quite large sums of money from.
What's with that diamond that he gets? He has a meeting with this person. There is no deal done, but then he just sends him this enormous diamond?
Yes, and that is actually by Hunter's own account, in an account that he gave to the New Yorker to add him into, where he is given a diamond. A diamond appears after he has dinner with Yi Jinping in 2017, in early 2017, in one of their first meetings at dinner in Miami. He has this diamond, and records of that exchange occur in divorce proceedings with Hunter and his wife. She claiming that it's worth $80,000, he claiming that it's much less, and that he seemed to know that there was a problem with him keeping this, and so according to his account, he gives it back, he gives it away. So he does not keep the diamond, but it's certainly an indication of what the Chinese businessmen that he was meeting with were after.
What do you think is the most important thing that you still don't know? I mean, you've spent obviously many, many hours poring over all of the available documents, et cetera. What is the most important question that you want to see answered, that you think we may eventually see answered?
I mean, I think one interesting thing is sort of what Hunter does with all of this money. It's ostensibly for business purposes. He set up a business arrangement, but we were unable to find any successful business pursuits that came as a result of this. We can see the money going into accounts controlled by Hunter, but we don't know what happens next. We don't know what he does with the $1 million or the $3.8 million that he got ostensibly for contract arrangements. So I think that was one of the major unanswered questions that we were unable to get from Hunter or any of his representatives. It should be noted, too, that the Department of Justice has an ongoing investigation into Hunter and his taxes. And we frankly don't know exactly if it's related to this pot of money that he got over this time period. But that's another kind of big unanswered question at the moment that we don't know, that maybe will be answered by federal prosecutors.
This is one of those stories that people don't realize how much work had to go into making it happen. Matt Visor, I recognize how much work went into it. There's a reason we devoted a whole segment to it. We appreciate you taking the time to come on the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.